Welcome to History, Our Story, His Truth. 9-year-old Sophie Collis, who was born in Siberia, in a winning essay wrote, "I used to live in an orphanage. It was dark and cold and lonely. At night, I looked up at the sparkly sky and felt better. I dreamed I could fly there." Her essay gave the names to the two rovers, Spirit and Opportunity, which were launched by NASA in the year 2003 to explore the red planet Mars. The Spirit rover landed on the Mars planet on the 4th of January 2004. 3 weeks later, the Opportunity rover touched down on the red planet. 17 days after the landing of the Spirit rover, Deep Space Network lost contact with the Spirit. The fault was corrected by reformatting Spirit's flash memory. 3 years into the mission, Martian dust storm blocked sunlight to the rovers, which was seen as a threat that might permanently disable the rovers, but the dust storm lifted. 5 years later, the Spirit rover became stuck in a sand trap on Mars and could move no longer, and was used as a stationary science platform. Like the Spirit and Opportunity rovers, we are made for a purpose, for God's mission. We cannot go ahead and fulfill our life's purpose to its full potential when our spirit loses the communication with God, when worldly temptations like the dust storm blocks us, and when we get trapped in the sands of the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and pride of life. C.S. Lewis, the English writer and broadcaster, an atheist turned Christian, in his book The Screwtape Letters writes, "Humans are amphibians, half spirit and half animal. As spirits, they belong to the eternal world, but as animals, they inhabit time. This means that while their spirit can be directed to an eternal object, their bodies, passions, and imaginations are in continual change. For to be in time means to change." The Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes that God has made everything beautiful in its time, and also He has put eternity in our hearts, except that no one can find out the work that God does from beginning to end. If we as the Spirit belong to the eternal world, and if God has put eternity in our hearts, what's the problem? Paul writes in Galatians that for what the flesh desires is opposed to the Spirit, and what the Spirit desires is opposed to the flesh. For these are opposed to each other to prevent you from doing what you want. He goes on to write, "Now the works of the flesh are obvious: dissensions, fornication, impurity, licentiousness, idolatry, sorcery, enmities, strife, jealousy, anger, quarrels, factions, envy, drunkenness, carousing, and things like these." By contrast, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Think about these. If the Spirit and the flesh are in conflict, then what's the solution? In the same letter, Paul says, live by the Spirit, that is, the Spirit of God, and do not gratify the desires of the flesh. Let me repeat. Live by the Spirit and do not gratify the desires of the flesh. Jesus said, just as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. To abide in Jesus and to live by the Spirit of God is to have a daily communication with Him through prayer and by reading and meditating the Bible and to live according to His words. The 4th of January also marks the anniversary of the official opening of the world's tallest man-made structure, Burj Khalifa of Dubai. On the higher floors of Burj Khalifa, the sun can be seen for several minutes after it has set at ground level. You have heights to climb. Let go of the fruitful opportunities that God has kept for you in His purpose. Let not your spirit get stuck in the sands of worldly pleasures and sin. Abide in Jesus and live by the Spirit. God bless you.